Hello, and welcome to the virtual presentation of our final project for Group 6, comprised of Abby, Alexander, Haley, and Robbie. I'm Abby, and along with Alexander, who will be controlling the screen, we will be presenting our team's data visualization. We are looking forward to sharing more about the data set we selected and utilizing our team's dashboard to highlight some of our analysis. For this project, we utilized the 2022 Forbes World's Most Valuable Sports Teams list. This report is produced annually and is comprised of a range of details pertaining to the world's most valuable professional soccer, football, basketball, and baseball teams. For this project, our thesis was visualizing the 50 most valuable global sports teams to analyze which factors like region, revenue, or record make them top earners. We focused our visualizations on topics such as the team's value, purchase history, and revenue, while also providing the user with two unique views to see where these teams are geographically located. Throughout this presentation, we will highlight the questions we look to answer and explain the corresponding visualizations we designed to answer them. Additionally, we also aim to include points of interest about the data along the way. Without further ado, let's dive into the dashboard our team created to answer some of those questions and more. As we are looking at the data, we saw the potential to make some very interactive visualizations. Something that initially struck us was the geographic component of the world's most valuable teams, more specifically the USA holding the majority of the teams on the list thanks to the NBA, NFL, and MLB, while only 9 non-domestic teams made up the rest of the rankings. These teams were exclusively comprised of European Union and United Kingdom soccer leagues. On the screen, you can see the two different map styles, reference and topographical, on each map. As you hover over the particular marker, you can see different details pertaining to the city or team depending on which view you've selected, which we'll discuss more later. The second piece of data that really stood out to the group is this list is only comprised of 4 different sports. In the top right, we created a gauge for the user to see the makeup of data on the dashboard at any point in time as they interact with the views and filters. The filters in the bottom right are tied into every component of the dashboard. Not only can you control the maps in the center and the supporting graphical analysis below, you can also see it update the proportional breakdown in the top right gauge. One of the most proudest features of this visualization is the select view in the top left, functionality that provides users with 6 different lenses to choose from. Each of these views provides the user with a different perspective of the data. As they select a view on the map, they are presented with markers personalized to that visualization and corresponding box and whisker or scatter plots that aid the user's understanding of team distribution. One of the first questions our group wanted to utilize this tool to uncover is, does population increase or drive team value? Overall, we found that this was not necessarily true. For example, some of the highest value teams actually come from some of the smallest populations. A true example of this would be the Green Bay Packers. Here you can see that the entire metro population is just 300,000, whereas the overall Packers team value is close to $3.5 billion. On the flip side of this, there's also teams that come from very substantial metro areas but have a small team value. A perfect example of this is the New York Mets, who have a metropolitan area of 19 million but just a small team value of $2.65 billion. The second question our group looked to answer was, do championships drive value? More specifically, is there a correlation between the amount of championships won and the value of the team? Looking at our championships lens, we were able to see that there wasn't a strong correlation across all the sports between championships earned and value. And even in each sport, there were certainly outliers, but we wanted to specifically show you the view of soccer. And here you can see soccer is actually a great example of the correlation between championships and team value. One in particular we want to call out is the highest earner being Real Madrid, who is worth more than $5 billion and has won 35 championships to date. Lastly, the final question our group wanted to investigate is if there's a sport that is the most valuable. What we came to was that there are 2 perspectives you can look at. Initially, we did look at overall team value to make this determination, and without a doubt, the National Football League stood out to us. This league brings in an annual team value of $96 billion, and on top of that, 26 of the 50 most valuable teams in the world are football teams. However, as we were looking at some of the other tools that we created, we also took a special interest to team revenue. As we just said, definitely the NFL is the most valuable team. However, from a revenue perspective, they're actually not. The median NFL team revenue is just $369 million. But if you jump to soccer, you can see that the median team revenue is $663 million. And ultimately what this shows is that our database provides a user multiple different tools to be able to drill down into different factors and answer different questions. Thank you so much for listening to the recording of our group's final project analyzing the 2022 Forbes Most Valuable Teams list. Please find our citations in the icon button and feel free to reach out with any questions.
Those are